Hello, hi. Thank you for joining this session. My name is Nicolas Buisson, and I'm working for Harris Pyxid, which is a company based in Luxembourg. We have the opportunity to work with multiple clients to build big data solutions, which of course involve Elasticsearch as a search engine. And today, in this session, I would like to share with you our experience of running Elasticsearch in production from a small to large volume of data. The first concept I would like to discuss is sharding. So a quick reminder about sharding. So if you look at the first picture, if you create an index with only one shard, you are going to be able to only scale up your application because your documents are stored in a single shard. So you are going to hit a hardware limit, and of course you are not able to scale out. The second picture is a design where you have an index with two shards. In this case, of course, half of your documents are stored in one shard, so you can store your documents in two nodes. So an index is composed of one to multiple shards, and a shard itself is a Lucene index. You have a second feature, which is the possibility to achieve high availability by setting replication factor using this property. So of course in production we recommend to have at least a replication factor of 1. It allows you to distribute your load on multiple nodes. So on the third picture, for example, we have a replication factor of 1. So you are going to be able to spread your load on 4 nodes instead of 2. If you lose the node number 1, you still have your replication of your data in the node number 3. So you are not going to lose any data, and you can spread your load. Quite difficult question is how to size your cluster. So basically is how many shards you want to create for your index. It's very difficult because if you create not enough shards, you are not going to be able to scale out or to achieve high availability. But in the meantime, if you create an index with, 1,000 shards, you are going to kill potentially the performances. So it's quite difficult. A general rule is to, which is recommended, is to store between 20 and 40 gig of data per shard. So as a first exercise, you can take typical documents you are going to store in your index, and you can compute how many documents you are going to store on one shard. And you can, of course, extrapolate for the total number of documents you want to store. It's a global solution, but it won't fit all the use cases. So a second solution is to perform a kind of shard sizing exercise. It's one solution. So we have implemented. It's to determine the maximum shard size you can. So it's to you want to determine how many documents you can store at a maximum on one shard. So the exercise for this first step, it consists in taking a baseline server. So for example, a node with 8 cores, CPU cores and 30 gig of RAM is a good start. You create an index with only one shard. You populate this index with typical data, typical documents, which are representative of your business. And you, you perform, with an initial set of documents, you perform performance testing. If at the end of the test, the response time are acceptable, you can increase the number of documents, and so on, until you break your expectations. So at the end, you have determined the maximum document you can store in a shard with only search queries. The second step is to determine the minimum document you can store in a shard. So it's exactly the same exercise, but you simulate indexing at the same time. At the end of these two first steps, you can determine a kind of average number of documents you can store in a shard. So from these two steps, you can determine the total number of shards for your business. So if you have determined that you can store, I don't know, 100,000 documents in a shard, and you have 1 million documents, okay, you have the total number of shards. But you still don't have the number of nodes that you need for your cluster. You simply need to determine with the first step the consumption in CPU and RAM, and you can extrapolate for the baseline server you are going to use. Okay, regarding the deployment. So in production, you need at least 3 locations with low latency between them. So you can forget to deploy a cluster with one location in Asia, one in Europe, and one in the US. It won't work. What you want to do is to create one cluster in each region, if you want to do so, and you are going to implement a kind of cluster replication. So you need to choose a region with 3 locations with low latency. Why 3 locations? Because you are going to deploy in each of these locations, a master node. A master node, it's a node which is responsible to control the state of your cluster. And you can choose 2 random other locations to deploy your data node. You don't want to deploy your data node in 3 locations because you want to reduce the network round trip between nodes. One issue you can see in production is the split brain issue. So it's when your cluster, multiple nodes of your cluster cannot communicate together but are still up. So you have 2 distinct clusters. You can still index, you can still query, but it's done in parallel. And of course, when the connection is up again, you have problem to aggregate the data. So one solution is to tune the parameter minimum master nodes, is to indicate how many master nodes should be up and in communication at the minimum. So if you have several data nodes which can access only one master node, they are going to simply shut down. A nice feature as well is the shard allocation awareness. So you are going to specify to a node in which location is this node. So it allows you to instruct Elasticsearch to where to allocate the shards. To come back to on the first slide where you have a primary and a replica, of course you don't want to allocate the primary and the replica in the same location. You want to put the shards in a different locations. Regarding the hardware, so Elasticsearch is quite sensible to the hardware. You have to really take care of what you are going to pick. So for the disk, you have to take SSDs. That's the minimum. Standard disk is not an option. It must be local. Ideally, you can set up a RAID 0, for example, to have more IOs. Regarding the memory, it's quite sensible for Elasticsearch as well. You have to take as much as possible, but not too much. We'll see later on. Regarding the CPU, it's less sensitive as the memory. It depends on your use cases, so you have to test it. And again, the network, you need low latency and bandwidth because Elasticsearch is doing a lot of synchronization between nodes and it's transferring a lot of data. So don't underestimate the network as well. So for the memory, regarding the heap size, so you cannot exceed 31 gigs allocated to the JVM. And the total memory, the heap size, sorry, allocated must be half of the total memory of your node. So usually we don't take servers with more than 64 gigs of RAM. You have to disable the swap, so you can do it at the level of the operating system with the swappiness, or you can force Elasticsearch to allocate the total heap size at the bootstrap of Elasticsearch using this property. And if you are using this property at the level of the operating system, you need to allow Elasticsearch to do it with the second one. The last thing regarding the memory is the garbage collector. So in Java 8, CMS is the default one, and G1 has been introduced in Java 8 to handle bigger heap size, so bigger than 4 gigs. G1 is not officially supported because they had a lot of issues with Lucene. So Elasticsearch does not recommend it officially, but it has a lot of benefits. G1 will be the default one in Java 9, so let's see. Some tips regarding the daily task. So you have to rely on the admin API. You have a lot of endpoints to monitor, to debug. It provides a lot of statistics, like the CAT and the cluster APIs. It provides information regarding cluster, per nodes, per index, the states, a lot of information. Regarding monitoring and security, so before Elasticsearch 5, it was provided as a kind of plugins, separated plugins like Marvel, Shield, Watcher, and so on. Now it's bundled together in a bundle called XPack, sorry. So security, for example, it allows you to create specific roles for administration, only for indexing, only for search. For monitoring, as well, it provides you a lot of graphs UI through Kibana. A nice API as well is the Reindex API. So it's an API to allows you to replicate, for example, data between clusters, or to reindex data between clusters, sorry, or to reindex data inside the same cluster. You can specify queries to reindex a subset of your data. It works between versions. So if you want to migrate a cluster from 1.7 to 2.4, for example, you can do it. The last topic is regarding the bulk indexation. So, for example, when you want to create an index from scratch, a recommendation is to deactivate the refresh interval. So refresh interval is linked to underlying mechanism of Lucene. So what you want to do is to avoid Lucene to make the document right way available. So you can deactivate the refresh interval during bulk indexation to reduce I/O disk. You can as well deactivate the number of replica because during bulk indexation you don't really need high availability. Some plugins. The first one is Curator, which is a great plugin for any index administration task. The second one is Rally, which provides you a kind of micro benchmark solution. And the last one is UI web app for administrative tasks as well. This is all for me today. Thank you.